Welcome to the 13th Annual Beacon Awards. Each year, Shore Publishing's Beacon Awards recognizes a few of the outstanding individuals who selflessly fulfill the Shoreline's promise of a place of opportunity, well-being, and safety for all. We've received hundreds of nominations for readers eager to share stories of friends, neighbors, and family members whom best embody the spirit of the community. From that deep pool of inspiring stories, we've selected these 14 exceptional citizens who serve as beacons of the community. Let's meet your 2025 Beacon Award honorees. Patrick Bryan, Chester.
So I've volunteered to help with Chester PTO, Chester Elementary School PTO, with the Halloween event and a couple other school events that they have, with the John Winthrop Middle School musicals, and some with the high school, Valley Regional High School, and Community Music School, which is in Centerbrook. For a variety of them, I make things like sets and props and games and decorations and all kinds of things for the events. So on the stage, all the actors sometimes use different kind of props in the sets, so I will make that sort of thing. Things like a tombstone and a boat or whatever like that. A lot of times, again, we'll just have to make them for the stage. Try to help tell the story with the set as well, in addition to the characters, being able to tell the story. Plus, it kind of enhances the actors, letting them have something to work with, makes them feel a little more real, like they could get into their characters better, become part of their stories as well, their own story as someone who participated in the musical, and it just is kind of fun to be able to do that. And for the elementary school, the town runs a Halloween event, and the elementary school runs one of their major fundraisers through the Halloween event. So they usually hold a carnival and looks like a haunted cemetery walk. So I would design displays for the cemetery, and then I would help run the whole cemetery walk, and then I also designed games that the kids would play as part of a carnival games, and then usually set them up and take them down, and then help people, show people how to run those games during the event.
Jay Carlson, Guilford.
I am with Special Olympics, Connecticut Special Olympics. I am with Unified Sports through Guilford Public Schools. So Unified Sports, and I double dip. So I take my Unified Sports from Baldwin Middle School, which is where the program first originated, through Bill Wallach, who was an absolutely wonderful leader. And we started the program here. He introduced me into the program, my oldest son who has Down syndrome, and his brother as a partner and an athlete. And we grew with Bill from Baldwin Middle School up to Adams Middle School. And then the program became part of the high school program. And our mission and our goal is to make sure that individuals are welcome and inclusion is welcome. And we develop leaders who will eventually end up out in the community. So it is a student-driven, from the word go, a student-driven mission on both levels, whether it's Unified Sports or whether it's Special Olympics. And I will take a lot of the individuals from Unified Sports out of the schools and bring them over to our Special Olympics side so they can continue even outside of the high school.
I think what I admire so much about Jay Carlson is that she's ignited a fire in our community when it comes to inclusivity. Jay's motto is "Be the change," as students are coming across 4 different schools into this environment for the very first time and learning about each other's differences at a whole new level. The work that Jay has done with the Unified program has really elevated what inclusivity means on so many levels, and we at Guilford Public Schools are very grateful for that.
Laura Francis, Madison.
I was on the Jeffrey PTO, which now it's Neck River Elementary School. I was the PTO president there for the last 2 years. Now I'm just part of the PTO, and I'm on the board of PLA, which is an organization called Peace, Love, Accessibility. So it started years ago as a Girl Scout co-troop leader for my daughter's troop. And I had 2 friends that I grew up with that have Friedreich's ataxia, which is a rare form of muscular dystrophy. And so we were learning about disabilities for one of their badges, and I had invited them and their mom to come to the surf club to explain what it was like to grow up with a physical disability. And their mom suggested that we borrow their wheelchair, and so that the girls can experience what it was like to be in a wheelchair. So we took it around the surf club, we took it around town, and the girls really saw places where things were accessible and where it wasn't. From there, we kind of formed an inclusion committee through the PTOs. And so that was probably the most recent place where we were able to really focus on making things more accessible in our schools and around town. For example, on this playground, we have accessible swings, and that satisfies the ADA compliance rule, but it's on sand, so nobody in a wheelchair could ever get to it. Really, the goal was to make the surf club accessible, because that's where all the kids in town play. You know, that's everybody can come, you know, elderly, anybody with mobility issues. If people could just think about when we're building infrastructure, when we're planning an event, making sure that everybody could participate.
Tim Gannon, Killingworth.
I'm currently part of the Parmalee Farm Committee, which oversees the property. Parmalee Farm is a town-owned property, 132 acres. I was chairman for 14 years, and I recently was able to pass that to somebody else, still on the committee, but not chairman anymore. So it's basically sat here until 2007, when one of our members, Peg Schofield, wanted to do a community garden. So I said, I'd like to be a gardener. Each year we do more and more. The farmhouse is the home now for the Historical Society, and we have events in the pavilion where we have weddings, parties, and concerts. We have pumpkin carvings, and lots of different activities have developed over the years. Other organization is the Killingworth Lions, which I've been a member for 43 years. I'm a past president of that group and on the board of directors for a number of years. The third organization was the Killingworth Chamber of Commerce. I was a founding member of that in 1988 when a group of us that had businesses in town, we needed a way of communicating with the people, and there was no chamber then. So a group of us got together, formed the Killingworth Chamber of Commerce. A few years ago, we merged with Middlesex Chamber of Commerce.
Vincent Giordano, Branford.
Currently, I am still a very active member of the Veterans Parade Committee for my 53rd year, actually. When I returned from Vietnam, I was parade marshal, and then I've been master of ceremonies of both the Memorial Day and the Veterans Day Parade ever since, so I continually volunteer there. Around the same time, returning from Vietnam, I joined the Branford Lions Club, and so I've been a Lion for all of those years, president and still an active Lion. I am just finishing up a 3-year term as president of the Pine Orchard Association. Those are my current volunteer activities. After the military, when I got back to the business, I joined our business association, the Association for General Contractors. After a year or so with that, I became president. I was on the board of the Blackstone Library for 8 years, 6 of those years as president. Then I was on the board at the Pine Orchard Yacht and Country Club, and 2 years as president there. I'm just recently, more than less, retired from our business, so I find myself with a little more time for volunteer work, so I am actively seeking to get involved directly with the town more often. I'd like to get more involved with that now that I have more time and I'm a little less associated with a business in town.
Michael Lawton, Westbrook.
So I'm working right now with 3 different organizations. One is called Bikes for Kids. It's a group that gets donated bikes, often ones that need repair. The volunteers repair the bikes and provide them to families in need. To date, almost 30,000 bikes have gone out. The second organization is Literacy Volunteers. So I'm a tutor with Literacy Volunteers. I have a student from Ecuador. I've also helped them develop some intake forms, both for new students and new volunteers. Before my work, people would fill out a paper application, and then the organization would have to enter that information into a computer, came up with a Google form, pretty straightforward way for someone to enter the same information That information, once submitted, automatically gets emailed to the organization. Just creates a lot less work for the staff there. The third group is the Shoreline soup kitchens and pantries, and there I do a little bit of volunteer work for some of the Spanish-speaking guests. I've also been working on an app to facilitate check-ins. So these are people who come in for food once a week, present a card with a number on it, and that information is then used to register each guest. But it's time consuming, and in the wintertime it's cold, and so I've worked on an application with a tablet so that check-in process can be facilitated using QR codes for scanning and checking in.
Chinzia Leteri, Clinton.
So in Clinton, I volunteer with the Water Pollution Control Commission, and I'm also on Planning and Zoning, and I serve on the subcommittee for that right now for the Plan of Conservation and Development for the town. I also do Girl Scouts with my niece for the Westbrook Girl Scout Troop. I was very fortunate enough to be recently appointed by Governor Lamont to sit on the Connecticut Council of Environmental Quality. And I work on the environment, I work on infrastructure with the town, with the WPCC, planning and zoning. Obviously we work on improving regulations, but also seeing people who are coming in for applications to work on their homes or develop businesses in town. And so a lot of what I do really interlocks and intertwines with each other. So these are things that have always called to me, you know, whether it's working on the environment or working on improving infrastructure and business and climate and culture within this town, because not only is it going to benefit people that I've known for my entire life, but it's also going to benefit my family and hopefully the next generation. You know, infrastructural issues the town has had for, you know, quite some time was very important to address, and obviously then planning and zoning dovetails extraordinarily well with that. The environment at the state level has always been a passion of mine personally. So.
Jim Lockhart, Deep River.
I volunteer for the Stuart B. McKinney National Wildlife Refuge, and my role as a volunteer can vary depending on the needs of the refuge. There are 10 units in the refuge. This, in fact, is one of them. Okay. This is called Salt Meadow. The units run along the Connecticut shoreline as far as Greenwich, Connecticut. About half of the units are on land and half the units are islands. The refuge has a full-time staff of about 5 individuals, especially during the spring, summer, and fall months. There is a real need for extra help. I spend a lot of time volunteering on one of the 10 units in the refuge, and that unit is Outer Island, which is off the coast of Brantford, and our volunteers greet visitors on weekends. We offer tours, and basically we make sure everybody stays safe and has an enjoyable time while they're on the island.
Michael Rafferty, Old Saybrook.
I've been involved with the Youth and Family Service from my first day of working here on November 19th, 1990. All the administrators had a meeting at 5 o'clock in the dark over at the office. And from there, I got very involved. And Gretchen Bushnell, who was a resident here, a teacher, a retired teacher, and I were the coordinators for Healthy Community, Healthy Youth, which was the benchmark of helping kids. And from there, I was placed onto, they asked me, would you go onto the commission? And I'm currently the chairperson of the Old Saybrook Youth and Family Service Commission. So my whole life has been involving working with kids in doing things that I think are healthy. I became very involved with all the activities. Any school that I was principal of or a counselor at, I was always at every event, always trying to make sure that the families knew that the schools cared and that we wanted to help any way we could through the kids or through the families. It's, you know, every minute that I can help someone, even at this point in my life, is very important to me.
Doreen Shirley, Madison.
I volunteer primarily with Scranton Public Library, where we're sitting right now. I'm the secretary of the Board of Trustees, and I am the co-chair of the Development Committee. Being the co-chair of the Development Committee means that my partner and I lead a team that are responsible for raising this year about $410,000 to support this library. We have 3 appeals. Those are letters that go out to the community 3 times a year. But we also have fundraising events like a raffle that we have in the winter. We have the Beachside Bash at the end of spring, beginning of summer. We have wine tastings, partnerships with businesses and restaurants. But our 2 big ones are the raffle and the Beachside Bash. So I want to champion literacy. Now that I no longer teach students to read, I wanted to transition into something that still supported and was a cheerleader for literacy, and that's why I'm here at the library.
Bill Stableford, Madison.
I'm very much involved with the Scranton Memorial Library. I'm on the Board of Trustees, have been since 2017. This, to me, is the heart and soul of Madison. I'm really invested in using this library and helping in whatever way I can. On the Board of Trustees, I'm on 2 committees. I'm on the Development Committee for fundraising. We worked on both the capital expenditures to renovate the library. We have to fundraise about $250,000 a year. I was also just chair of the Buildings and Grounds Committee for 4 years. This is a very complex, brand new high-tech building with geothermal HVAC and solar-powered electricity, all kinds of electronics and computer operations that need to be serviced and maintained. And then we also have 2 outbuildings on the property, one of which was just completed, a full renovation. That's the old post office across the street. And then we also have 24 Wall, which is currently painted, and new gutters on the exterior, but we have yet to determine the future use and funding for that building. I'm also still on the board of directors of the Madison A Better Chance program. I've been on the board and volunteering there for over 25 years. I served as vice president for 3 years, president for 10 years, still involved with the program and supportive of bringing young boys of color to Madison to enhance their educational experience and help them move on to a college education and leadership opportunities in their communities.
Lorena Venegas, East Haven.
Encompassed a lot of fields, including public health, and through the years I volunteered to distribute food through different food pantries. I've worked in different community kitchens, connected to United Way. I've done volunteer work by being on like civic organizations and town boards. And also nationally, I do work with organizations that deal with wetlands regulations and education on educating citizens about environmental justice. On the side, I do have a moms group called Moms United in East Haven, and when my children were little, I participated in a special education IEP individual education plan meeting for a mom that only spoke Spanish. And it was really eye-opening for me to be in that meeting and learn that we really don't have the knowledge as a mom of what special education law is and what our child can best benefit. So I started connecting one mom to another, that mom with a special needs child with another mom who speaks Spanish, so that they can connect and make sure they relay those resources to each other. In terms of my town, I think I love my town so much that I think that's why I run the gamut on different issues, and I just call it love in action. Whatever issue is important to you, whether it's health, whether it's education, there's a way and an avenue that you can be informed about and make your town better.
Maureen Westbrook, Deep River.
I'm involved in a few organizations right now. So the Community Foundation, I'll talk about them first. Community Foundation is a nonprofit organization that works with other nonprofit organizations in Middlesex County and supports these entities in their work. And it is possible through the generous donations from individuals and businesses who contribute through the Community Foundation. And then the Community Foundation turns around and works with eligible nonprofits, providing them support and resources. And every year there's a grant application process so that these entities can get funds to further their efforts in the community here in Middlesex County. And I currently serve as the chair of the board of the Community Foundation, so it's an honor to lead this organization. And I'm involved in the Deep River Cares Committee, so right in my hometown there. That is a smaller group, but they're also administered here through the Community Foundation. Their funds and their processes are handled through here, but it's really focused on local needs in Deep River. And again, it works with nonprofits who are doing great things in the community, but it provides them support and resources. Whether it's after school programs, the library, or the land trust, those are the groups that they work with. Middlesex Chamber of Commerce, I'm very involved there as well. They are the largest chamber in Connecticut with about 2,000 members that collectively employ 50,000 people. And then when I retired almost 3 years ago, I said, these were the 3 organizations I was going to continue to be involved in my retirement. Excited to be on the building committee for them now as they are embarking on a huge renovation of their Main Street office here, updating it for energy efficiency, access, technology, all those things, so that that historic building will be able to serve the needs going forward there.
Christina Zaratny, Old Saybrook.
I work with Empower, which is a nonprofit organization that supports children and young adults who've experienced the loss of a parent. And we support them in a couple different ways. One way is through community events where they get to meet peers that are just like themselves. And the other way is through a unique one-to-one mentorship program where we match them with adults who have also experienced the same type of loss. And it's really our goal is to show them that they're not alone in this loss and that their loss is going to be, even though it's a part of their story forever, they're going to survive it. I get to help them raise funds because we do all of our programming for families at no cost. So I've been able to chair a gala every year for the last 3 years at AquaTurf. We've raised over $125,000 just for families in Connecticut and to help continue that programming for them. It's just so amazing. I also volunteer with my son's schools. For my oldest son, I'm the PTO president at his school, and for my youngest son, I'm a past president at their school. And I just really love getting involved in their community and making the school a better place, not only for my own kids, but for all the kids that go there, and the teachers too, of course.
We've heard what these honorees do for the community, and now let's hear how that service rewards them.
I think people need other people. And I tried in very many ways to instill with kids that they were valuable. And how can you help someone else? Every minute that I can help someone, even at this point in my life, is very important to me.
Like, how can you help those people locally, the ones right in your backyard? I think these organizations really do that well. And so I love being able to say there's somebody right in my backyard that nobody even knows needs help, but they're getting help through these organizations. This
was not wasted time. It really lit up people's lives. It gave them hope just by reaching out and connecting with them. Even given the extreme differences in our lifestyles, that yes, we could really help people. We could do some good.
It takes so much more than just a single person, and we are all here because we love this town, and we all have those supportive families who are making it happen for us. But you can also see the passion that everybody has in wanting to complete projects, wanting to see progress within our town.
Through my involvement with the Parmalee Committee, the Chamber, and the Lions Club, got to meet a lot of great people. So, not overly surprising for those that volunteer, but enjoyable.
It can only be done by a supportive network. People around me, like, there's not just one person. It's a wide network. And the thing about volunteering is that when you affect one person, that person's very likely to help another person. That's the beauty of it.
And I think that it's great for them to volunteer. It's everybody. If everybody just did a little bit, it's like makes such a big difference. It's just helping everybody realize how they can be a part of that. Because then everybody feels good. It feels good to help, and then people want to keep going.
Well, it's absolutely true that you get more than you give, that the benefit of doing something that you're passionate about is greater than I realized it was going to be. And I know that sounds kind of hokey and everybody says that, but that's because it's true.
I think I just always wanted to help people and be a part of their story. Sometimes you don't even know the impact that you're having on somebody until maybe later, or sometimes you never know, but just knowing that I know I had an impact on them makes a difference.
The most meaningful part of my life. It's part of my identity. It just comes naturally to me. I'd like to know if I left the world a little bit better while I was here. I do what I can.
It's such a rich group of backgrounds and knowledge and people, and to see that work in tandem with everybody else's knowledge and information is really impressive. We love this town, and we want the best for this town and for the people who live here, and not only for us, but for that next generation and for our children, or in some circumstances, grandchildren.
So when you're volunteering, what happens is that you're the one actually gaining more sometimes than the other person who's receiving. And it'll make you feel good, it'll make you sleep good at night, and just knowing that you were able to help somebody else.
With the Soup Kitchen, Kim Howley has been kind of my partner in crime in working on the app, but with support from Amy Hollis and Bob Eberg. Literacy volunteers Susan Graves and Joanne Argersinger, I work closely with them on developing the intake forms. At Bikes for Kids, Dave Fowler and his wife Lynn, and just all the tremendous volunteers have really made this work possible and enjoyable.
I would like to thank our Vice President, Virginia Balté, and she's been a great mentor. Also like to send my appreciation to the people who staff the refuge here at Salt Meadow. Rick Poppin, he's the refuge manager. Sean Roche, visitor services manager. Chris Vagos, she's the refuge biologist. And Sean Healy. I've enjoyed many years work with them, and I look forward to working with them for many more.
Well, obviously my husband and my daughter, also just my fellow commission and committee members. This award goes to all the people, not just one person. It's never, ever just one person. I just want to thank them for serving with me to progress this town that we absolutely love.
I think I'd like to recognize Selectman Al Goldberg. Al Goldberg, as a selectman, was very supportive to me in my role as chair of the two committees, so I would recognize Al.
It really takes a village, just like anything. And I feel like there have been so many people I've met along the way. Sarah, who nominated me for this, and all the other people I've met through PTO and PLA. So many important people in my life that have helped me to keep going.
Well, the first one would be the Old Saybrook Youth and Family Service, and Heather McNeil, who's the chair. She's a wonderful person, but she's a great director, and that's because being a counselor, she understands. Secondly, I'd like to thank Kyle Fortuna, who is our first selectman, because Kyle has always been very involved. And the third person I'd like to thank is former Chief of Police Michael Spearer, because Michael Spearer was the first resource officer in town.
The most and the brightest and the highest, of course, is my wife, Linda. And my children also have been very, very supportive, as well as my employees, family, friends. They all recognize in one way or another what you do.
Laura Traver from John Winthrop for actually just letting me help out with the musicals and the sets there. And Anastasia Littlefield, she's from Community Music School. They've made me feel like I'm part of their team.
Mary DeDuke for nominating me for this award, for which I am very humble. Maria Barnico, who was the person who nominated me to be a board member, so I'd like to thank her. But I'd really like to thank all the teachers, particularly in the Madison Public Schools, who work tirelessly every day to spread a love of literacy.
I have an amazing support system, but I think it all stems from my mom, because my mom was the kindest and most thoughtful person I've ever known, and I just know that I do my work to make her proud. I know my family and my friends and my colleagues, they are so supportive of me, and they are always there to lend a hand, so I can't thank them enough.
because you're going to edit this. You have to get this to 90 seconds. Good luck. Chris, you have a big job to narrow this down.
If you asked me 3 years ago if I would know this much about waste management, I would tell you you're full of it. Literally. Yeah. While potty training is also fun too. Literally up to here.
So that's one of the things. Sorry, can I start again?
Yes.
What was the question again?
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely. I'm going to read that
like,
You're going to be here all night.
I know, I'm so anxious.
That's okay. That's okay.
Feels good, and it's good for, that's a terrible answer. Can we not do that? Can we skip that? Can I do that again?
No, you can't.
Good. Excellent.
That's it?
You can stay here all day if you like.
Well, I want to talk about all the other things I do.
Funny stories. Oh my God, I wish I was prepared for that. I can probably think of 10 of them. I think I'll have to get back to you on that one.
I think what I'm most grateful about with Jay Carlson is the fact that she's ignited such an incredible. Oh, I gotta look at you.
Eyes on me. I don't pay attention to the camera.
I'm not looking at you anymore. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
From the top.
Did a good job, Chris. You did a good job.